everyone and welcome to Alena Media TV. It's time for our history, and today we are looking at the tribe of Bilen in Eritrea. They are Kujitic people and quite nomadic people, but we all established the fact that Eritrea has a lot of clans in it. So this is one of the clans, but today we are going to do something very different. We're going to look at how they conduct their marriage ceremony. That's the history behind the Bilen Eritrean traditional marriage. So the history of marriage in Bilen Eritrean engagement is arranged by families. So most families come together to do the arrangements. You don't go find your own spouse. It's being done by your family. And the couple have no say whatsoever is their future marriage life. So you're just there and then they bring you a husband or a wife. That's how it's being done. So if for some reasons the two lovers get married without prior permission from their parents, the boy is obliged to pay a certain sum of money. That is being done in Africa, most of African countries, but I know that with some countries you have to get the woman yourself or the man yourself, but then when you are with a woman without properly getting married to her or without the consent of the family, definitely you're going to be found for some amount of money. So it is also practiced right in there. But with that, sometimes they take the money plus an ox to the girl's father. That's what is being done there. So among Christians, there must to be no blood relationship for the past several generations, while in the Muslim society, the couple must have close blood relationships. So as in some people are able to marry their brothers, sister's child, like, you know, their first cousins and all that. But in the Christian, we don't do that a lot in there. You cannot marry your sister's child. And there are a lot of people practicing that. Even in other African countries, there are people who do that kind of intermarriage among the clans. So it's very common there. Like relationship, beauty, riches, and wealth are also a prime qualification for the bride. The couple may be promised to each other's families while still in their mother's womb. That is very interesting. So I kind of asked myself, how are they able to know that this one is going to bring out a girl and then the other one? I know they are very special and that they know how to go about all of that. So right from your mother's womb, they find you a husband. So when a woman gives birth for the first time, she goes to her parents' house. If the labor pangs take more than normal, prayers are said on her behalf. Since the Bilen are mostly Catholics, divorces is very difficult to implement. One interesting thing that I kind of picked from this is it is customary that in the event it is the man who is seeking a divorce, he has only to leave the house. The wife remains in the house while all the couple's property under her care. It's not like other tribes or other continents where when you guys want a divorce, they just split your properties into two and then someone gets the lion's share and the other one a bit, or into two equal parts. But this particular system, when you are the man and you want a divorce, you have to pack out and leave everything for the woman. Vice versa, if the woman also wants a divorce from the husband, she would leave the home and leave everything for the husband. And I believe that they kind of did this to deter people from divorcing right after marriage. So, you know, a lot of marriage divorce rates going so high in Africa. So maybe it's just to serve as a deterrent to people, not to just get up and divorce anyhow. So on the other hand, it's the same as we said. It's also about the woman. If she decides to divorce, she has to leave the house without much ado. So if both parties are wanting a divorce, the properties are divided equally between them. So they only allow the sharing of properties when it is consensual by both parties. If not, whoever that wants the divorce needs to pay the price for it. So the husband will provide some form of alimony to a pregnant woman who is divorcing him until she gives birth. So if a woman is once a divorce and she's pregnant, the man needs to pay some amount of money. So after a divorce, there is a grace period for 3 months, in which time the husband may change his mind and ask for reconciliation. So they don't just get up and divorce. They give a period of 3 months, especially with a pregnant woman. They treat it a bit special. So, sometimes pregnancy can really cost a lot. So maybe after birth, your mind might change. So they give you that breathing space for you guys to actually decide exactly what you want. So look at money and time is spent on wedding and honeymoon ceremony. So let's take a break. Let's look at some of the wedding celebrations being done in Bilen. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So from that, you see that a newly married couple will live with the groom's family for quite a while. But when they have their own house, the role they play in society changes. So they don't just get married and then move into their own home. They need to be with their groom's family until they decide to get their own place. Then they can move on. And then the moment they move on, they play very significant role in society. Now society acknowledges them as adults and people who are responsible in society. So they become full members of society with more privileges, although the woman is never equal to the man. It's done with to other places, so it's normal. The husband is the only breadwinner and can do whatever he likes with the property. Well, that is when the activist gender equality would also fight this. But then I think it also serves right, because if he's the breadwinner, obviously he's taking care of the family entirely, solely on him. So everything in the house is under his control. The woman is confined to the kitchen and serves only to produce his children. If she is given some work like poultry to tend, it is because such activities may seem degrading for a man to even pay attention to. So they do a lot of domestic work. So even poultry, they see it as it should be in the care of the woman. Okay, so only men can only land. Women are clearly in an inferior position. Okay, so that's to the Bilen. After a wedding ceremony, the groom holds a 7-day feast from his own expenses and from money offered by friends. The family spend his week dancing, singing, and drumming. And we know in a fact that Eritrea is an indigenous people who love music and dance. They do a lot of Dutch, a lot. And then they also play different instruments. So it explains why they have 7 days feast just for married couples. The friends spend this week dancing, singing, and drinking, just as I established that fact. It is a week of merrymaking and enjoyment. Although the 7 days had the bride in his house of his in-law, the groom is not supposed to touch it. That is interesting anyway. So after celebration is over and the friends go home, the groom offers a gift to the bride, a way of coercing her to lie in bed with him. Once the marriage is consummated, the 1-year-long honeymoon starts, in which period the bride is allowed to perform light household chores only. So from beginning of marriage to their 1 year, she does just light work. So you don't just go to your wife anyhow. You have to find something for her before. Anyway, it's quite an interesting culture anyway. So heavy domestic work is done by the mother-in-law. When the year ends, the bride takes over the responsibilities and starts real work in the house and outside. nothing really changes in the manner of work assigned to the groom, a poor couple would have no chance to enjoy this year off. So I think mostly it's quite of an expensive treat, and you need to be very rich. There's a saying that little ox falls a great tree, little strokes falls a great tree. So you need to be rich, you know that. Until the age of 4, children play in the same, both for female and male. Children are made to wear small beads and seashell jangles. Most of the time they play by building sand castles. Whatever the sand becomes softer after the rain. After the age of 4, gender separation in game is visible. So till you're 4, they kind of mix all of you together. So the boys get more interested in tough games, while the girls tend to prefer lighter games. This is preparation for the different roles that male and female would play as adults. So they groom them right from where they are as in their infancy to when they become an adult. So you need to be able to put yourself in order. So punishment is administered by the mother to the child below the age of 10, and by the father, other relatives up to the age of 19. So when a child is a bit younger, the mom disciplines the child. But when he's turning into an adolescent, to an adult, it's the father and the relatives who do the discipline. Okay, so these are some of the few things that we would get to know. So if a teenager proves to be unrepentant, replication can be done by both parents. The parents consult with church elders for possible repercussions. For the offenders in the church boarded school, the youth are groomed throughout the early years to conform to values and traditions of their society, and to prevent or respect their culture. So that is all about the Bilen, their wedding, and how they bring up their children. So that's a little bit history that you need to know about them. Kindly share your thoughts on this particular episode, and I'll read them for you. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Bye-bye.